Good evening to all of you. Today is World Environment Day, but this program which we are doing, Dialogue to Develop a Vision for the Environment of Delhi, we started in way back in 2013, and this is the 12th edition. Can we have that photograph of the first edition on the? Yeah, so that's the first one we did in 2013, and some of the people you can recognize. We have lost two of them in the meanwhile. Mahesh Buch is there now, to whose memory we have dedicated a very senior member of India International Center and a great environmentalist, very senior civil servant. And he was the vice chair of the DDA also in Delhi, though we belong to the Madhya Pradesh cadre. And then there is Manoj Mishra, who had done tremendous work for the Yamuna, saving the Yamuna. And of course, C.R. Babu is there. And then two of our founding members are there, Sudhir Bhutani and Lalit Agarwal. So that's way back in 2000. And then we have G.S. Patnaik also, some of you recall. There, he was the vice chair of the DDA at that time. So he's also there. And Amita Bhaviskar is also there. And I think the chief of forest that time, A.K. Shukla, Forest Department. Yeah. And then a grassroots, Rajendra Ravi is there, a grassroots worker for the Yamuna. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. So we have a very distinguished panel. And to chair this meeting is Justice Abhay Oka, who's just retired from the Supreme Court. We'll be grateful that you could join us today. Probably it's your first public meeting after retirement. Second. Okay. So we are grateful for that. And you've done tremendous work in environmental jurisprudence, which is monumental. And that's why we wanted you to be with us today. And then we have Shri Bikram Singh Sajwan, the former expert member of the National Green Tribunal, Professor A.K. Gosain, former professor of civil engineering, IIT Delhi. He is joining us from Dublin. Has he joined? He's there? Okay. And then we have Dr. Vivek Saxena, an officer of the Forest Service, Principal Chief Conservator of Forests, Haryana, and Professor Akshay Kaul, ecological planner, landscape designer, and sustainable development architect. Then we have Yogita. Oh, there, Professor Gosain is there. Yeah. And then we have Yogita Shukla, founder and CEO of AddGEO Foundation, who's joining us from Mumbai. So, Shri Bikram Singh Sajwan will be talking to us about the river Yamuna. A.K. Gosain, professor, would be talking about the entire drainage system, which ought to be in Delhi. And then Dr. Vivek Saxena would take us on the trip to the Aravalis. Okay. Yeah. And what should be done for its restoration. And Professor Akshay Kaul will be talking of urban greening. Okay. And the discussant Yogita Shukla would be taking us down the river from Pala to Jaipur via satellite images, and how it should appear if it was all taken up by biodiversity parks. based it on the Yamuna Diversity Park images. Yeah, okay. So now there's a little ritual we have to do. We have to, I mean, we can't virtually honor the people, not yet, but we respect our artisans. And this comes from Salem in Tamil Nadu, and it's called Ganga Jamuna. The tehzeeb, and it's so, sir, if I have the, yeah.
Thank you so much.
What do you want me to do again?
Again. Sorry.
Do it again. Oh, अच्छा, चलो, you read it fast.
Very fast.
Now there are three, sir, please. There are three gardeners here from the nearest garden. The Green Circle adopted Lodi Gardens in 1992. So we have got the three gardeners here whom we'd like you to honor, sir. They've done tremendous work. So, Shri Nanak, can you aa jaiye idhar? Yes. अभी धीरे से आप करें. Shri Ashwani Kumar. Yes, you're all from that's the nearest. Most of us walk there every day. Shri Bikram Singh. Chair to give his opening remarks first.
Shri Suhas, Borker and his colleagues of Green Circle of Delhi. I thank organizers for giving me this opportunity to participate on this dialogue on environment in Delhi. I am really privileged today that I am in company of experts in the field of environment. Though I may have delivered number of judgments in the field of environment in Bombay, in Karnataka and in Delhi, I am not expert in the field, and therefore I am not addressing, my opening remarks are not in my capacity as an expert, but I am here as a worker in the field of environment, and only because of my sheer experience of dealing with those matters in the court that I am here, not as an expert. I am not going to spend time on addressing you on basic concepts of law of environment, Article 21, and many other issues, because you are so conversant, you have been doing this work for last several decades. When we talk about Delhi and environment in Delhi, I always believe, I have said so in one of my judgments also, there is a concept of sustainable development. And I personally feel that we have gone wrong about the concept of development. Some of you may feel that it's a very subtle concept about sustainable development. But I think we need to revisit the concept of development. My concept of development is different. Now, take for example, because I am from Mumbai, take for example about Mumbai. We talk about development in Mumbai, that there are huge buildings, number of infrastructure projects, many roads, coastal road, which may have considerably damaged the environment. Can we think that this is development? Construction of industrial plants, industries, construction of highways, flyovers, skyscrapers, etc. Can we call it as development? According to me, this is not the concept of development. When can we say that there is development? When in bigger cities like Mumbai and Delhi, we are able to provide facility of affordable housing, affordable educational facilities, affordable health facilities, proper drinking water, and pollution-free atmosphere. This is the concept of development. And since we have gone wrong on the concept of development, there is large-scale destruction of trees, large-scale felling of trees, destruction of forests. I am party to a judgment of Bombay High Court where we gave status of forest to mangroves. And in fact, I was happy to reiterate that concept sitting in bench of 3 in Supreme Court. But today, I read news items where the courts are granting reliefs for facilitating so-called development for cutting of mangroves. As I said, I am worker in the field of environment, so I had passion for restoration of lakes. So in Bangalore, I was party to orders where we directed restoration of about 400 lakes. And now today we come across a judgment where it says that it is not necessary to restore lake. The reason is that we have gone wrong, completely wrong about our concept of development. So on that, we need a rethink. Because every time in sitting in court, we permit felling of trees because we say that trees are coming in the way of development. So some debate is required on that. The other issue, which according to me, is a very, very serious issue. In any city, forget about Delhi, any city, that is about the solid waste management. And only single reason is, in Mumbai, in Karnataka, in Delhi, whichever case comes up before me of any city, I have not come across a single city which has implemented 2016 rules regarding solid waste management. Look at Delhi. In the state of Delhi, I am going by official record put before the court. Every day, we are generating 3,000 metric tons of untreated solid waste. In Mumbai, same thing. In fact, I am party to a very drastic order which I passed in Mumbai after issuing several directions to implement the 2016 rules. Nothing was happening. Earlier rules, I am talking about earlier rules, which preceded 2016. And I had to pass the drastic order of stopping different categories of development. Development in the sense, construction of new buildings. Of course, that order was stayed by Supreme Court as another matter. So, talking about Delhi, today we have 3,000 metric tons of untreated solid waste generated every day. Look at the impact of this. When we talk about traditional concept of development, what we are going to do is, by this development, we are going to add to this quantity of 3,000 metric tons of untreated solid waste. Now, the question is whether we can do harm to the cause of environment, or whether we should be instrumental in degrading the environment in the name of development. Today is, of course, day to talk about pollution in Delhi. Now, in our judicial orders and at various fora, now number of issues have been highlighted why there is pollution in Delhi. One is, of course, everybody knows vehicular pollution, and especially pollution created by those heavy vehicles which enter Delhi, goods vehicles. Then there is seasonal pollution created by stubble burning in Punjab and some part of Haryana. Then there is issue of air pollution created by industries. Then again, seasonal air pollution caused by bursting of firecrackers. Then there is diminishing tree cover and tendency to fell more and more trees in the name of development. Another important thing is pollution created by demolition and reconstruction of RCC structures. And then systematic destruction of our lake and water bodies, not only in Delhi, but across the country. And again, one more important issue, failure to implement the statutory rules regarding solid waste management. 2 minutes back, I was in another function dealing with the issue of environment, and I flagged one more issue, that there are right-thinking people in our country who have taken up causes of environment, starting with MC Mehta and several others. But there are very few, and we don't honor them, those who have taken up the causes of environment. Today is not a day, only in a minute I'll touch. Long back, as a lawyer, young lawyer, had to occasion to appear in a PIL for restoration of lakes. There was a retired army officer who took up the cause. He saw, as a child, he had seen a lake in the city which was completely filled in, and there were illegal constructions. Somehow we could succeed in getting all those structures demolished on the basis of orders of the court. But ultimately, he had to face criminal prosecution because people felt that there was a deity in that area and he offended the deity. So the environmental activists are not being treated fairly. We don't respect them. We don't treat them. We don't honor them. And one of the major issues, which not only Delhi but other part of India we are facing, is there's complete insensitivity on the part of citizens in general about protecting our environment. There's a complete apathy shown by common man when it comes to environmental issues. Though we have Article 51A, which imposes duty on every citizen to conserve the environment, to prevent damage to the environment. Unfortunately, the activists who are working in the field of environment, they do not get, not only that, they do not get support from the members of the public, but they are ridiculed. There is tendency to criticize the orders of the court on the ground that those orders are coming in the way of development. There's one more area of serious concern. That's my, again, personal view based on my experience. There is growing tendency on the part of members of the public to destroy environment in the name of religion or religious reasons. Someday, we must candidly take a call. What is the extent of pollution caused to our rivers due to all religious ceremonies which are performed? Obviously, I'm referring to Kumbh Mela and similar such religious functions. In Delhi, I had already discussed the issues, and some effort was made on the part of government. Now we have that statutory body known as CAQM. CAQM has statutory power to issue directions which will bind all the authorities. There is a drastic power conferred on CAQM to prosecute even the public officers who don't abide by the directions issued by CAQM. There is environment. There is an act which deals with environment. There are rules which deal with, as I said, solid waste management. There are rules which deal with construction waste. There are rules which deal with noise pollution, air pollution, water pollution. There are rules in place, there are enactments in place. But what is lacking is implementation by the state agencies. Look at what happened in Delhi a year back. More than 1,000 trees were cut without the permission of the court in the Ridge area. I mean, like Mumbai, we have Sanjay Gandhi National Park. Ridge area is a lung of Delhi. 1,000 trees were cut without waiting for permission of the Supreme Court when application was pending. The point is, when more than 1,000 trees were cut, whether any citizen has shown any sensitivity about it, whether common man has protested about it. And therefore, it so happens that the issues of environment are left to activists who are present here or working this cause for years. It is left to selected environmentalists, selected activists. There are a number of lawyers who are working as amicus in MC Mehta matters and other matters across the country. And therefore, several questions will have to be answered by citizens. That why citizens as a group is not supporting the cause. Court is addressing the issues of solid waste management, stubble burning, etc. But are our governmental authorities taking a very serious stand on this? Are they very serious about implementation of the laws, the directions issued by the court, directions issued by CAQM? After working as a judge for 22 years, dealing with so many issues regarding environment, I think now I personally feel that this dialogue regarding environment in Delhi, or for example, environment in any city for that matter, now that dialogue has to be taken to every mohalla, every ward of every city, every industrial locality in city, because we will keep on discussing, people like you, I mean, will keep on working in the field, but unless we get support of common man, unless we are able to educate common man, I don't think we'll be able to move in the right direction. There's a beautiful Marathi movie in which there's a very, very apt dialogue. The dialogue is that in our country, there is a need to educate educated people. And that is so in environmental matters, very, very, very relevant in environmental matters. So I thank the organizers for this dialogue on Delhi, because initiating this dialogue in the context of Delhi is very important. Because it's a question of life and death. 2 minutes back, I was talking in another function. You know, when we sit in the bench, we deal with these pollution issues. There's graded action plan by CAQM, we pass orders, banning entry of trucks, stopping all construction activities. But most of us who are present here, barring some of them, gardeners are here, fortunately, that we sit in protected environment where we have machines which take care of air pollution, air purifiers are there. But 80 or maybe 90% of citizens of Delhi, they can't afford to do that. Some of them are working on streets, they are vegetable vendors, they are fruit vendors, and they are the ones who are really affected by the pollution, not those we sit in comfortable houses. And therefore, I say this is a question of life and death. And today we are discussing Delhi. I'll close by saying that Mumbai and other cities are not far behind. Their turn will also come. So now we can initiate the dialogue.
Thank you very much, Justice Oka. I think you have raised a very germane issue, is that what kind of development we are, moving for. And that actually explains a lot of problems, what we are into at the moment. Now, without further ado, I would request Sajwan to begin his speech. We'll be tackling the river.
Thank you. Honorable Justice Oka, former Judge, Supreme Court, Mr. Borker, other distinguished members on the panel, ladies and gentlemen. I must first of all thank Mr. Borker and his organization, Green Circle in Delhi, to have given me this opportunity to be here and share some of my views on the rejuvenation of Yamuna that I've been asked to speak on. I think Justice Oka has given a very, very thought-provoking address, and given a different paradigm of what development should stand for, actually, not in terms of infrastructure, tall buildings, etc., flyovers, but actually what are the basic, how we are able to address to the basic needs of the society in terms of societal needs as well as environmental needs. So thank you very much, Professor Justice Oka, for this opening remarks. I would also like to take this opportunity to greet all of you on this World Environment Day today. I have been asked to speak on rejuvenation of Yamuna. I have been fortunate to be associated with this program of rejuvenation of Yamuna right from 2013 onwards, when I joined NGT. Thanks to a case filed by Mr. Manoj Mishra in 2012. The NGT passed a judgment in 2015, and thereafter, through a continuing mandamus, we were monitoring the implementation of the directions. Later, after I demitted office in NGT, I was asked by NGT, the then second chairman thereafter, to be in a monitoring committee, 2-member monitoring committee, to actually monitor the implementation of the directions given by NGT, which we did until 2020. So that's where it stands in terms of how I was associated. Now, before I go into rejuvenation, let me give basic facts about Yamuna, which of course most of you will be aware. See, Yamuna starts in Yamunotri. It has socio-cultural, importance for us. It reaches Hathani Kund, which is 250 kilometers from Delhi. There is a barrage where almost 100% of the water is diverted among the riparian states. Haryana, UP, Delhi, even Rajasthan has a share, Himachal Pradesh. Only on the direction of Honorable Supreme Court, sometimes in 1999, that 10 cubic meters per second was directed to be released as an environmental flow. Otherwise, probably the entire water. But even that water that is released, by the time it reaches Delhi, it's all dried up. And whatever little reaches Delhi, at Wazirabad, there is a barrage where everything is trapped and taken to the water treatment plant. So that's where the position. So downwards of Wazirabad barrage, there is zero fresh water flow into the river. It's all sewage starting from Rajafgarh drain and other drains. Yamuna travels about 22 kilometers through actually city limits. It meets about 22 drains, natural stormwater drains, most of which carry only sewage. Major drain is, of course, the Najafgarh drain, which not only carries sewage from Delhi, but also from Haryana. As I said, 22 drains joining. In these drains, about 1,200 million liters per day is coming from Haryana alone, which is treated, semi-treated, half-treated, and about 1,800 MLD is coming from UP through Sadra drain and other drains. So it's not just Delhi, but it is Haryana and UP as well in terms of the pollution that is present in Yamuna. So although the river runs only about 2% of its length, which is 1,376, Delhi contributes to about 75% of the pollution to Yamuna, pollution load. Today, the pollution load is so high that although we want to achieve a BOD and dissolved oxygen, what is BOD? BOD is the amount of oxygen that is required to degrade the organic matter present in the river. So it is against the prescribed limit of 3 mg. It is about 46 mg today. This is the level of pollution that we have in Yamuna. In fact, it goes to much higher, something like 90 by the time it reaches downwards of Sadra lane. So this is the kind of pollution. Dissolved oxygen, which is essential for survival of any life in the river, is zero. So that is the level of pollution that we have in Yamuna. So this is the kind of situation: zero freshwater flow and zero oxygen in the river, and highest level of pollution in the river. So when we talk of rejuvenation of the river, I think, in my view, we have to look at 3 aspects. One is the what is the amount of freshwater flow in the river, as you call it, minimum environmental flow. Unless a river has minimum environmental flow, it will not be able to support the ecosystem processes in the river. It will not be able to support the aquatic biodiversity present in the river. It will not be able to meet the socio-cultural needs. After all, we as a society depend upon river for various socio-cultural functions. So it will not be able to meet the kind needs that we have from the river. So one is the basic requirement of a minimum environmental flow. Second is the pollution. What is the level of pollution? How do we bring it down? And third is the floodplains. Floodplains, when I say floodplains, means it is the area which gets flooded by the river and it belongs to the river. Now, so the first point, environmental flow. Somewhere in 1920, a study was conducted by the ministry, which said, through a National Institute of Hydrology, which said the minimum environmental flow for the river is something of the order of 23 cubic meters per second. Now, that is something which is, in the present context, is almost impossible because, as I said, the entire water that is present in the river, except the 10 cumecs, is released to Haryana, is given to Haryana and UP in 81% of the share at Hathanikund Barrage. 81% goes to Haryana and UP. So very little that is left here, that is released for Delhi as well as for other states, is by the time it reaches Delhi, it's all either evaporated or percolated. So that is one problem because unless the water is available in the river, the dilution will not happen, and therefore the environment, you will not be able to revive the river. So when we want to say rejuvenation of a river, I think we have to look at the basin. We can't just say that Delhi, it's a Delhi problem. It is a problem of the entire basin. We have to look at the entire basin. Basin includes Himachal Pradesh. Basin includes Uttarakhand. Basin includes Haryana, UP. Now, when you talk of hill states, we have to see what is the level of, what is the kind of development Justice Oka was talking about. What is the kind of development? What is the kind of infrastructure we are doing? What is happening to the streams and tributaries in those hills? What is happening to the forest cover? What is the land use? Because land use, impacts what goes into the, into the groundwater and therefore into the streams and rivers. So when you look at the hills, you have to, these are the aspects which are extremely important. When you come down, let's say in the plains, the issues are slightly different. Once the river reaches Haryana, UP on the eastern side, there is, as I said, entire flow is diverted. There is a heavy extraction of groundwater too. Now, why I'm mentioning groundwater in the context of the river is that the groundwater recharge helps, helps the river through base flows during the lean season, because there is a reverse flow during the monsoon. There is a flow towards the floodplains. During the lean season, there is a reverse flow towards the river. Now, if you draw excessively from the groundwater, then you are going to be depriving the river of the flow that would be available from the groundwater. Now, during the last 20 years, Haryana has seen these districts which are falling along the Yamuna. They have seen a decline of almost 150% in the groundwater table. And similarly in Delhi, out of 30, there are 34 blocks identified by the Central Groundwater Board. Only four blocks are safe blocks. The rest are either overexploited, they are critical, they are semi-critical. That means every year you are depleting the groundwater level. And groundwater level I'm repeatedly mentioning because it is critical to reviving the river. It's not just the surface water that is required in the river, but it's the groundwater. So these are some of the challenges that you face. In Delhi, there is a DJB has filed an affidavit in the tribunal that there are 22,000 illegal bore wells operating. Now, this is the report of the Delhi Jal Board. Imagine there must be many more illegal bore wells. So these are some of the challenges. Another issue that is extremely critical is the kind of cropping pattern that we have promoted over the years. Yes, it has provided food security because of the rice and wheat and other cycle. But what has happened to the groundwater table? It's gone down phenomenally. There are areas where the groundwater table, there are reports to suggest that between 1974 to 2018, some of the districts in Haryana have seen decline by about 30 meters in groundwater table. Other districts, 10 meters, 20 meters. Now, if this is the rate at which the groundwater declines, then I think we are heading for a very serious situation. Maybe we are creating deserts here. So that's another problem. Haryana government, I was reading somewhere, they have started a scheme called Mera Pani Meri Virasat. The idea is that you want to save water, and therefore you want to switch over to crops that are less water consuming. They are giving incentives, they are giving subsidies. I hope that these are some of the things which, if they are done over a period of time, will help the river in the long run. Illegal sand mining is another challenge. Sand on the river floodplain helps recharge of the groundwater again. It also prevents flooding, but there is a lot of illegal sand mining that's going on, and it's impacting again the river health, river flows. Water bodies are another areas which are being neglected. In Delhi alone, there are something like 1,445 water bodies as per the revenue records. Most of these water bodies, they are not able to identify, or they have either gone into disuse, they have been encroached. And what is happening is that the water body by itself cannot sustain. It requires streams and channels which will give during monsoon flows to the water bodies. Those water channels, those streams are blocked due to the various kind of infrastructure that we have created. So these are also creating problem for the river. Another issue is that the Delhi, we are using something like 1,000 million gallons of water per day. Treatment, the water is being treated in the city sewage treatment plants, but the reuse of the treated wastewater is absolutely very minimal. Only about 17 to 18%. Some other countries like Israel, they almost 90% of the water they are able to recycle and reuse it. We are able to do only about 18 to 19%, which is something which is extremely critical, because every drop of water reused is water conserved, and lesser water consumed means you are saving it for the environment. So these are some of the issues which are extremely critical when you talk about revival of the river and creating a e-flow, creating a flow in the river. Unless it is done, unless we are able to regulate the groundwater, unless we are able to do sustainable sand mining, because sustainable sand mining means there are detailed guidelines issued by the ministry. It's a question of implementation. Recently, I was reading a newspaper report saying that in Panipat area, so much excessive sand mining has been done that the river course has changed. So this is the kind of problem. Unless we are able to regulate these activities, I think we will be only talking about reviving Yamuna, which will not carry much conviction. So my on environmental flow, my take would be that since there is a environmental flow which has been suggested by an expert body at the instance of the ministry should actually say and notify this environmental flow and work towards achieving that environmental flow. It will happen, not in immediate term, maybe long term, maybe medium term, but unless we put a goal before ourselves, we will not be able to achieve anything. And secondly, the ministry will have to take the responsibility. We can't, it can't be left to Delhi government or Haryana government and or UP government. Ministry will have to take the lead in saying that this is our aspirational target. Call it aspirational. After all, we must have a goal before us. So, and then try to achieve that. Take all the measures in consultation with other state governments, as I said, in terms of regulation, groundwater and rainwater harvesting, crop diversification, various other measures, so as to achieve the kind of environmental flow we are talking for the river. So this is one aspect of augmenting the environmental flow for the river. Second is the control of pollution. As I said, Delhi consumes something like 1,000 million gallons of water, of which about 800 mgd is mgd is generated. Today, they are only able to treat something like 611 mgd. That means something of the order of 200 mgds even today going into River Yamuna untreated. That's one. The half of the even the treated sewage, half of the STPs that are functioning today are not meeting the standards prescribed by the regulatory bodies like the Delhi Pollution Control Committee or CPCB. So treatment, half the sewage treatment plants are functional and giving the treatment to the water sewage, but they are not meeting the standards. So that is another challenge. And the main reason is that most of the areas are not covered by sewer network. In fact, even today, there are 1,799 unauthorized colonies in Delhi. Only about 1,240 are actually sewered. That means something like 30% of the colonies are even today unsewered. And those unsewered colonies are using pit latrines, etc., and either they are using septic tanks or they are releasing directly into the drains. Now, there is a plan, but then I don't know how far and how quickly we will be able to achieve this, complete sewerage network. Otherwise, we will continue to, release this pollution into Yamuna. In fact, in addition, there are about 639 JJ Juggi Jhopdi clusters. Even they have not been connected to sewer. All of them have not been connected to sewer networks. So, and there is another issue connected with this is that in 2018, Delhi government, because they realized that sewerage network, providing sewerage network to the unauthorized colony is not only taking time, but it's hugely challenging. Imagine if some of you have seen an unauthorized colony, the access to an unauthorized colony is so very difficult. The roads are so narrow and zigzag. Imagine once you have constructed an unauthorized colony, laying a sewer line under that is extremely, extremely difficult. And even after having laid the sewer line, it becomes difficult to maintain. Hope I have not exceeded time. Right? Okay, I'll quickly wind up in 5 minutes. So that's another problem. So the alternative is that till the time you are able to provide a sewerage network, what we should do is to have what is called septage management. There is a septage management rule where the septic tanks are cleared and then the septage is taken to the sewage treatment plants. There are regulations. The agencies have been doing it, but it needs to be geared up so that entire septage generated in the unauthorized colonies till the time sewage network is provided is brought to the sewage treatment plants. Of course, industrial pollution. There are about 28 industrial clusters, 17 are water polluting, only connected to 13 CETPs. Most of the CETPs are not, meeting the standards. In addition, there are about 51,000 industries in non-conforming areas. So they are releasing industrial effluent into the drain. So these need to be surveyed and closed because there is no business for these industries to be functioning from residential areas. So on the floodplains, I would only like to say that there is a third issue is the floodplains. Floodplains, as I said, it belongs to the river. It's an area which gets flooded. The 2016 notification of the ministry has said that floodplain is 1 in 100 year, floodplain. That means a 1 in 100 year frequency. But we see that the floodplain has been, either encroached or it has been reduced considerably through this creation of bunds. But I think unless we protect the floodplain, the revival of the river is difficult. There is a plan. The DDA has a plan to have something like 11 biodiversity parks, but not all these parks are doing what they are required to do in terms of regenerating the river. They are more of a public space for an interface of people with the river. But the river needs to be cleaned first before you create that interface, so that people have a stake in coming to that area. Otherwise, biodiversity park or a kind of park that DDA is planning to create Unless you are able to clean the river, why should people be going? Because it's a stinking river. So I think the basic point is that we need to clean the river before we actually think of this. And riverfront is something which is, I think, not ecologically sound principle to go about. If you want to construct, if you want to do concretization, if you want to construct structures there which will obstruct the floodplains. So finally, I would like to say that we need to have all the state governments on board. Unless you have all the state governments on board, I think it will not be possible to achieve the rejuvenation of River Yamuna. Fortunately, this time the Delhi government, Haryana, UP, and central government are on the same page. They are working in tandem. I think there is a political will, and I hope that this political will translates into rejuvenation of Yamuna in near future. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Sajwan. You see, the political will, of course, is there, but it should not go the wrong way. If we go in for the concretization,
Yes.
then everything will go haywire, because it's the simple thing to put the concrete dumpers and just finish the entire landscape. Now, can we have Professor Gosain to speak on?
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Borker.
Please come.
So, a very good evening to all of you. Honorable Justice Oka, Mr. Borker, and all the distinguished panelists and all the participants who are very active members of this dialogue group. I'll just briefly mention about what Mr. Sajwan was mentioning. I'm just putting one site which has been created. We had done at IIT Delhi a very detailed project, a research project lasting around 5 years and culminating this year only. And the site is jalsuraksha.iitd.ac.in, where we have looked at the sustainable development and water security of NCT of Delhi. And all the detailed analysis has been done, which is talking in terms of the basin, the Yamuna basin, which is a donor of water to Delhi. Not looking at only the basin level activities, but also looking at the future, what the future has in offering in terms of the climate change implications. And there's a lot of analysis which has been done at the city level, looking at the water balance, at various looking at various aspects, what we are supplying, what the sewage is generated, and how the groundwater is being used. So some of the questions which had no answer earlier, they have been addressed, and there's a clarity on that. I think the pity, what we are discussing today, the pity is that there is no, is a real pity in our country, and that's why we are still a developing country. The difference between us and the developed country is that there is a very close coordination between academia and the departments where the action is. And that is not happening. And giving this present example that we have done this, we had approached DJB, who's the main contender of this kind of work. They said, yes, they are interested, but then they have not shown any interest in terms of utilizing that work and working with us as we were working for these many years. We had with various CEOs meetings, but I think that is what is lacking. So I think today though I have been asked to talk on the drainage system of Delhi, which we have worked for the last many years. But I'll also, since we are mainly focusing on environment, so the major issue of environment in Delhi is, I can pinpoint, that is the mishandling of the sewage. And that is also interacting with the drainage system. I remember when we were discussing this issue in 2013, when Justice Satendra Kumar was the chairperson of NGT, and we were trying to look at how we can handle this pollution aspect of Delhi. And after a lot of debate, we had come out with the final verdict was given through the 2015 order of January 13, which had title Mali to Nirmal Yamuna. And I can vouch even today that had that order been implemented properly, Yamuna would have been much better today than it is now. That order had looked at all aspects of pollution, because unless you plug the sources of pollution, it's very difficult to really handle that load when it is about to get into the Yamuna as a river. That becomes very difficult because by then the volume is so high. You have to address the issue of plugging the sources of pollution at the source level. And that's what the order is about. The order says, and the main objective of that order was that we shouldn't allow any sewage get into any of the natural drains of Delhi. And that was the first time we had established that when you ask anybody, even today, many people feel that there are only 22 drains which come into Yamuna, fall into Yamuna. That is not true. Each drain has its own system. And it was established that there are 200 natural segments of stormwater drains which are spread all over the city. So the order says that no sewage should flow from any of the areas into these 200 segments of natural drains. And we had the meetings with the AECOM, who was a consultant for developing the sewerage master plan of Delhi. And I had called them to IIT and we had discussed. They were saying that it'll take 20 years for the sewerage master plan to be implemented. And the amount put in place at that time, requirement was 20,000 crore. So we said that fine. When I asked them that why you are saying so, they said there are 1,500 unauthorized colonies in Delhi, and it's very difficult to put the sewer lines in those. So it'll take a lot of time. So I said, fine, let's have a revised objective. If I give you the objective that no sewage, because every unauthorized colony is a very compact area, and the sewage is coming under gravity, it might be having one or two locations from where it is emerging out of the locality, and then once it comes out of the locality, you trap it there, take it to the sewer line which we are designed for the whole area. And if you do that, now tell me how much will be the time taken and how much will be the money required. So they came after 2 weeks and said that it'll take 3 years instead of 20 years, and it'll take 4,500 crores in place of 20,000 crore. So that is what is the main core of the 2015 order. So Justice Satendra Kumar said that fine, we'll give you half the Delhi. DGB was asked to take half the Delhi, which is the Nazafgarh basin, and implement that. So even if it takes more than it should have taken 1.5 years, but he said that, okay, let's give you 3 years and you implement. Now the question is that the thing is, the order has not been implemented in true sense. And there was no mechanism, though the principal committee was there, but the way that they were showing that this is what they have implemented, there's no mechanism of monitoring and evaluating the implementation, the outcome of the implementation. So I think that is what we are missing. That is where we have missed the bus, which could have been the whole objective would have been achieved if it was done properly. So today what we are discussing, I feel that we'll keep on having these kind of meetings for many, many more years. But if you look back and see that what difference it has made on ground for the last 20 years since we are meeting, and why the introspection has to be done, that why there has been the situation that we have not been able to make much difference on ground. I feel personally, the more I think about it, that we have to have a very the civil society has to be strengthened in a manner, and that is what we need to really work, all of us, together in that direction. There has to be people, there are people already, but we have to really pinpoint that who will look after which aspect. There are designers, there are planners, there are people like me who are scientific people who can do the analysis. So we have to really get together and engage in, as a society, in the monitoring and evaluation of those things. Everybody need not do it, but now the technology is so ripe. We have already generated, as I've just mentioned, that through this particular portal, you can go and see the whole GIS has been created for the whole city. Now, if we involve the society and have champions who are willing to devote some time and confront the implementers, I think the time has come when we have to, as taxpayers, we have to confront these implementers. And wherever there are situations where you don't need any scientific information, everybody can confront them. But where we have to challenge them on the kind of actions they are taking, whether they are going to be malactions or whether they are going to be good actions. And we can also give them chance and monitor that whatever you have invested in, has it bore any results? We had, as part of this particular exercise, we had also created a portal, a small portal, and implemented that into the NMCG, their office, and told them that this is the mechanism where anything which has been implemented by DJB, suppose they have taken away some of the sewage by tapping some drain, which they were supposed to basically take it to the level of the individual source, which they didn't. But even then, if they have done that, how much is the reduction in the pollution downstream of that? That could have been verified by taking samples. And likewise, we can chalk out a plan where we can discuss that what kind of action, what kind of role has to be played by whom. And if we do that collectively, I think things can improve. So I won't take too much of the time, because I know that the time is very, very limited. But my suggestion is that everything is doable. There are mechanisms in place, and we have to change our course of action the way we have been doing, as the civil society is not is not making any difference, whether it's rejuvenation of the water bodies or ensuring that people are. So if we have the plan of the master plan put in place, and then try to monitor that where the situations are happening, where they are being violated. So that is where you have to strengthen first the general public with those kind of information. And that role is much easier. It's not very easy, but we'll need some resources. But I think resources are available. CSR funds are available. You don't need too much funds if you are aligning yourself with the academia of the Delhi itself. There's a lot of work which is going on, but that work is not being useful to the society. So I feel that I'll stop here by saying that let's try to rethink the strategy which we are using and which we have failed with so far, what we need to do differently so that we can make a difference on the ground. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Gosain. I mean, in April you were here, and now again in June you are with us. And you hit the point very well that we have to re-strategize, if we want to make an impact, because it's very critical. And sewage, I mean, of course, is, it's the thing which has to be tackled, and somehow we are missing the point. Now, before I call upon Dr. Vivek Saxena, can we have, with your permission, a 2-minute silence for Valmik Thapar. Can you put that image on, please? Yeah. Sorry, yeah. No. Valmik Thapar. Valmik Thapar, who we lost on the 31st of May. He was a role model as a conservationist, and he had done tremendous work for tigers. So if we can just stand and Dr. Saxena is looking after wildlife also, so I thought it would be the appropriate time to remember Valmik and then go on to Dr. Saxena. Please, he's going to tell us about the Aravalis. They're critical for Delhi, and how the restoration and protection of the Aravalis is being done. Yeah, please go ahead.
Thank you very much. At the outset, let me thank the forum related to the Green Circle of Delhi for organizing this very important discussion. Honorable Justice Oka, Mr. Suhas, Borker, other distinguished panelists, and ladies and gentlemen. So we have been talking about the environment of the Delhi and the challenges related to Delhi environment, and lot has been talked about the water issues, maybe the Yamuna or in the urban planning, whatever the implementation failures, the sewage and all. Another very important aspect is that relates to the air pollution. We have now CA, QM and other things are in practice, but at the same time, two very important mountain ecosystems, they also play a very vital role for the Delhi environment. As far as the Shivaliks are concerned, regarding the Yamuna, already Dr. Sajwan has talked about, and Dr. Gosain has also talked about that, how we are responsible for making this water more and more dirty, or you can say the three primary things that we need to have: a cleaner air, cleaner water, and clean, or you can say sustainable land resources to sustain our food systems also. So water we have already talked about, a little bit contribution to the what is the air pollution, and in which my presentation or my talk will be basically concentrated related to the Aravalis. Okay. So as you know that Aravalis are the oldest mountain ecosystems, and that originates, you can say, from Gujarat, and it culminates at the Raisina Hill in Delhi itself. And it plays a very important role in regulating the Delhi environment by checking the advancement of the desertification, also by regulating the desert and sandstorms. But the Aravalli Mountains, they are not the continuous mountain chain, but they are the broken mountain chains of about 600 to 700 kilometers in length, and varying in the width at various locations. 81% of the Aravalis that fall within the Rajasthan, around 15 to 16% in Gujarat, and 1.8% in Haryana, and around 1.5 to 6% in Delhi itself. And they play a very, very important role because over the period, the Aravalis, because of their proximity to the national capital region, they have been subjected to large scale mining and other activities, groundwater withdrawal, and that's why the frequency of these weather events related to the dust and dust storms, and also advancement of the desertification, which is increasing every day, and that also contributes to the Delhi, you can say, environment in an adverse manner, other than our anthropogenic interventions in terms of the increase in the number of vehicles, the construction waste, and other type of waste which we ourselves generate. So So this is already I have talked about that it extends from the Palampur in Ahmedabad and to the northern Delhi ridge. Highest peak is around 722 meters, Gurshikar in Mount Abu. There are few rivers also that are Banas, Luni, Saibi, Sukhi and Sabarmati, and 800 kilometers nearly it runs, and the oldest found mountain, and it is very rich in biodiversity also. And there are 15 national parks, sanctuaries, and tiger reserves within the Aravallis, including the Ranthambore, for which just now we remembered Balmik Thaparji, and he had done tremendous work for conservation in the Ranthambore Tiger Reserve. Next. Yeah. So this is the significance of the Aravallis. It combats desertification. It also has a very important drainage systems and water divide between the Indus in the northwest and Ganga in the east. The forest patches within, they are the green lungs against the air pollution. They are rich habitat for the biodiversity and the rich source of the minerals. And this is just the desertification and land degradation status map of the Aravalli range as per the Space Application Center mapping.
No.
Now, what are the environmental challenges? If we see on the right-hand side, the excessive mining which was done in the past, that mining was done to such an extent that even the groundwater came up. And if you see some of the areas near Faridabad and Anandpur, where you see that those mining areas, they have turned into some sort of a lakes, all water. And their restoration initiatives have also been done. And down below the picture that shows the Aravalli Biodiversity Park in Gurugram, that was also one of the mine site, but over the period with the coordination between the Municipal Corporation Gurugram, Forest Department, and also the civil society organization, it has been restored, and that is the one of the important biodiversity park other than the other parks which Professor Babu has really set up and done a remarkable work within the Delhi for restoration of the Aravalli indigenous species and development of the biodiversity conservation. And the restoration approach, they have to be multi-pronged restoration approach when we talk of the Aravalli, so that it can address the air pollution and other things. Around the, just like Dr. Sajwan told that the floodplains, they belong to the rivers. Similarly, a number of litigations, they have been going on at various forums ranging from the Honorable Supreme Court and High Court. There have been many of the developers who are still challenging that, and still the government is also struggling, and they have been asked that to define what is Aravallis. After all, Aravallis are mountains. We have to accept they are very important mountain ecosystems. And again, by defining the Aravallis, what is the purpose of that? Again, there have been conflicting objectives like that. The foothills also, just like when we talk that the floodplains belong to the rivers, similarly, the foothills also belong to the mountains. Because if we see that whatever are the natural drainage through the limited rainfall in this arid region, that has a very important role in the groundwater recharge. And similarly, if we block these paleo channels within the Aravalli Mountains, then they also adversely affect the groundwater recharge and all. And because of that, number of dark zones and others in these areas and the water problem, they are also becoming more and more serious. So water body rejuvenation, identification of that, that has also very important. A number of initiatives are there like Mission Life, Ek Ped Maa Ke Naam. Today also Honorable Prime Minister launched a program related to Ek Ped Maa Ke Naam 2.0, involving every community and every citizen to be part of the afforestation campaign. Apart from that, I will also come to the Aravalli Green Wall concept also, for which was also launched today by Honorable Prime Minister. You see the impact of mining in Aravallis. This is the picture of the Bhatkal Lake in Faridabad, that over the period, the lake which in 90s there used to be boating, now it has become totally dry, and because of the mining in the surrounding areas, the paleo channels where back the natural drainage has been blocked. Because of that, now there is no water, though a lot of efforts are being initiated. But once, because of the construction activities and unplanned activities, these drainages have been blocked, it is really very challenging to revive this water body. Similarly, this is just near to the national capital, and there are other areas within the national capital region, maybe the Gurgaon, Faridabad, and all surrounding areas, because development is also increasing in that area. We may have number of other such areas where the water bodies have disappeared. So these are the environmental issues we have already discussed. The groundwater is depleting at a very faster rate. So solid waste management and other waste management rules implementation that Honorable Justice Oka also addressed, that it's a very, very serious issues. We have rules and regulations in place. We have plans in place. But the real challenge is the implementation and the sensitization and awareness, how to ensure, how to involve each and everyone to implement those rules, regulations, and adopt them into day-to-day lifestyles, and there's the mission life or adoption of sustainable lifestyle by each and everyone and contributing to them. That is very, very important. This is just when we talk of the Delhi environment, the air pollution, the AQI, PM 2.5, PM 10, these are some of the values, and we see that all are beyond the permissible or desirable values. Then how to take initiative, maybe in terms of the campaign for cleaner water resources, our water rejuvenation approaches, our drinking water sources, how they are to be cleaner, what water we drink, even with the unplanned urban development. Lot of buildings are coming, but at the same time, if we see from these all buildings, the tall building, the people who invest their lifetime savings in their flats and all, but at the same time, in the initial stages, they are getting dependent on the water supply from the water tankers, and what quality of the water they get, it ultimately affects the health of the people, and cumulative, you can say, environmental impacts. Today, in the program related to Haryana, which Honorable Chief Minister launched regarding the Haryana Aravali Green Wall Action Plan. So one of the political speech was that when we compare that, if you are in Delhi and when you go to the cleaner area like Panchkula and Chandigarh, your appetite for the food itself increases. Because one of the impact is when you are in Delhi, you are don't realize, but at the same time, you inhale so much of pollutants, you are surrounded by so much of the pollutants through air or water and all. But when you go to the cleaner areas, we realize when we go to the mountains, even in the summers, then we realize that suddenly our appetite becomes better. And in Delhi, when you see that because of that, this is also one of the adverse impact of, you can say, environmental parameters adverse, which are adverse. So you see the AQI, PM 2.5, PM 10, they are all above, and in the winters when we have the stubble burning and all, we all talk, lot of initiatives have been done in terms of the CNG and all this implementation of that graded response action plan. But the thing is that our day-to-day lifestyle should be in such a manner, there should not be any need for implementation of GRAP, because when you stop many of these development, whatever activities, at the same time, the unorganized sector, their employment also get adversely affected. Lot of other, you can say, your production of the industries and others also affected. So integrated approach to have a cleaner air, cleaner water resources in the Delhi, that is very, very important. And so Aravali is natural shield for Delhi. That's why the Aravali matters for Delhi. And these are some of the important. In the surrounding areas, we have it also a habitat for the leopards. Many times in the Aravalis and all leopard, we have a Sultanpur National Park, which is heaven for also the migratory birds, and lot of people from the national capital region also visit these areas. The mining regulations, they need to be enforced strictly. Right now, the 1992 notification which was done, that is only for the districts of the Gurgaon and erstwhile Gurgaon district, that includes the Mewat Noor district and Alwar only. But Aravlis are also in other areas in surrounding Rajasthan area and others also. There should be approach to the sustainable mining, and all these issues also need to be integrated into the Delhi Climate Action Plan also. And when we are talking now here at this forum for the Green Circle for the Delhi, it has to be expanded to the Green Circle for the National Capital Region, because these various actions and their effects, they are interlinked. One example, that proposed Green Wall initiative that was taken from the concept which was launched in the 2007 in Africa. Some of these countries ranging from the Ethiopia to Niger, they had a target for restoration of 100 million hectares and providing livelihood and jobs to these things, and that has been going on. Based on the similar thing, the Aravali Green Wall initiative was conceptualized when India hosted the UN Convention to Combat Desertification, that Conference of Parties COP in India in 2019. And now in today only, bringing all the 4 states, Honorable Prime Minister also launched this Aravali Green Wall initiative that has a concept of along these Aravalis in a buffer zone of 5 kilometers, the sustainable land management or landscape level activities. The green wall is one of the symbolic terminology, but that does not mean that all along the 5 kilometers you have to just plant only trees. Because some people were asking that green wall, how there are private farmlands and other areas, how you can have the green wall all for the 5 kilometers. It is not that. It is the thing, wherever there is a space for appropriate indigenous species plant, we need to plant, we need to protect. Where is a need for the groundwater recharge, there is a need for water harvesting structures within the various housing societies and all. They all function and they all contribute to the restoration of the Aravali green wall through whatever appropriate site-specific models which need to. So that is the approach for the green wall. So today it was launched in the 4 states, Gujarat, Rajasthan, Haryana and Delhi. So this is the concept for that.
No, launching is fine, but what will happen after that? You keep launching.
Similarly, sir, when we are talking that for the Yamuna, we have to coordinate with all the relevant states. So again, in the same way, because we have focus on the Yamuna and all. Similarly, for the Aravalis also, when we talk even the regulatory authority now, air quality management also, there has to be a coordination mechanism between all these 4 states and sensitizing them, because this is the initial action plan. Now the implementation of that in a coordinated manner, that is the real challenge. So we have to save the Aravalis today to breathe in Delhi tomorrow. If you see the picture in the background, this side is the Aravalis, in the back side, these are the buildings which have come up in only last 10 to 15 years. And if you see that the type of heating, because at the same time we have to appropriate cooling action plan also, because the air conditioning requirement of these all buildings, the heat which they generate, the heat islands which they create, and at the same time, what are the best things is the afforestation and the planting is one thing, and the sustainable transport, cleaner fuels, vehicles, they are also the need for that. So these are the challenges, and just to think that when we talk in Delhi environment, mainly we talk of the river and also the air pollution in Delhi and the region, but at the same time, how we can improve, or you can say check the further degradation of the air quality in the Delhi. So these Aravalis of the surrounding region of these states and the Aravalis, they are also equally very, very important for the cleaner Delhi. Similarly, like if we take the initiatives in the Shivaliks and all along the Yamuna, we have to ensure that the Yamuna is clean in Delhi. Similarly, we conserve the Aravalis. so we can ensure that Aravali's contribute for a cleaner air in Delhi. So that's all from the Aravali. If you want, I will just take you through a 2-minute video. Yeah. So that gives a
Video they have prepared.
picture that just walk through that from where the Aravali originates and how a important role it plays. Just can you play that video, please? Yeah, Alex. So this was this video was created by one of my Forest Service colleagues only. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. No, the thing is that this actually reflects, as Professor Babu was telling us, this,
Yeah.
this reflects what the situation is. It doesn't inspire us on what it can be or what it can become. You know, you should make another video on how things can change, you know, because it's now it's all
Yeah, this was
kind of very pessimistic.
yeah, this was just a model that how these mountains they play an important role in regulating the Delhi environment.
Thank
and-
you.
Yeah.
Discussant, Yogita, Shukla. Professor Akshay Kaul. Professor Akshay Kaul now to give us on the urban green. You have the floor. Yeah. Yeah, on there.
The presentation. Okay. Sure. Light if you want. Oh, I won't need that. Thank you. Well, by the time the presentation starts, let me thank you for inviting me, Suhas ji. And it's a pleasure to be amongst such distinguished speakers and people. And I come from a different background, not so much from the system so much. I have both the experience and I continue to teach and practice. And what we learn in the process, we engage in the public realm. And so we have had the good fortune to work with different state governments, even the government of Delhi, many organizations, development agencies, CSIR agencies, not-for-profit organizations. So whatever we have done, I'd like to share some of those initiatives with you. So each time it rains in Delhi, we know life comes to a full stop. This is a normal scenario. It has become a normal scenario here. On one hand, it floods. I think I have the wrong presentation here. Yeah, there is a problem. Can I take a minute? Yeah.
Is this going to take a few minutes? Professor Babu, would you like to come in? It's going to take a few minutes? Sorry?
About a minute.
Okay. Sometimes technology creates problems, but normally we are in control, but somehow technology takes control. Is done, sir? Okay, fine.
And I know, where did I leave the? Yeah. That's the full screen. Yeah. So this is fine. So each time it rains, the life stops in the city. And there are many reasons why that happens, but these are some of the reasons which are inexcusable. And so it is a choked drains, inadequate capacities, lost nalas, lakes, and a drainage master plan, which Dr. Gosain was explaining, and I was part of that. And our lakes, not just that we have lost the lakes, but more critically, the catchment areas. So reviving a lake doesn't mean so much unless it is the catchment area. And that is what happens with the water. That's our rivers. So we were invited by Delhi Jal Board, one very progressive officer. On the left, you see the condition of the lake, which, as you rightly described, is nothing but sewage water. And I was involved conceptually till the CEO was there. And that's the problem that we face. The term of the politician, the minister, or the officer or the secretary. Within that, if you're able to achieve something which is impossible, otherwise the whole idea is lost. So this is what was proposed. And fortunately, this project was implemented, the Rajokri Lake Rejuvenation Project, in which many people were involved. And I think NGT then mandated the other lakes across the country to follow a similar pursuit. We were involved during the period of COVID with IM Gurgaon and GMDA. And this is in Sikandarpur. And that is the condition of almost every urban water body across the country. We worked with CSR money through IM Gurgaon. And you can see, this is in DLF. And it took us a lot of time and effort and a person to champion it. And over a period of less than 2 years, we were able to not only clean it, restore it. It's got wildlife back. I don't have those pictures yet. But the other things that we were able to achieve were to divert the flood water that was flooding Gurgaon, because Gurgaon doesn't have either proper drainage, stormwater drainage, or sewage system. It lacks both. And all its nalas are disconnected, fragmented, and they don't even reach Najafgarh. So this today takes in, I think, crores of liters of rainwater. And so we are using this as an alternate system, because our storm waters, as you saw, or the drainage system is not working. So whenever we have an opportunity, whether it is a politician who is environmentally sensitive, so this was in Kashmir and Pulwama, or it is an NGO. So this was used for the campaigning purpose, can you imagine? And these are so many other projects across the country where we integrate with planning, rainwater harvesting into landscape to mitigate flooding, to recharge the ground, and to create recreation. So unlike all the projects that the government takes, which are beautification, which you were mentioning, Professor Bikramji, that you can go ahead and make parks along the Yamuna, so long as you don't clean them, what is the point? And crores of money through smart cities are dumped on lighting and paving along the lakes, where you can't even go. So our systems don't work. So unless we fix those systems, we're not going to move ahead. And so even in a small project, like we have worked on 20-acre projects, like right now in 10-acre project in Dharamshala, we realize we can sink about 6 crore liters of water through the year. So imagine how much we can do that in Delhi. And you are probably more aware of this than I am about the shortfall. But on the other hand, look at Lutyens Delhi, look at the peripheral areas of Delhi, or even the projects that are floated like Bahai Temple, for instance, an iconic project. They are water guzzler projects. We are sitting in the middle of a semi-arid landscape, and our ambition is to look like Scotland or Singapore or Kerala or Bangalore, and all of which is completely misplaced. So there needs to be a paradigm shift in the way in which we look at public spaces or landscape. We are sitting in a semi-arid landscape. Why aren't we celebrating the natural history of that place rather than having this still the baggage, colonial baggage of having the lawn, which is one of the biggest water guzzlers. So on one hand, you see water shortage, and this is just Noida, 16th of May, how we irrigate. So our agriculture is the largest, probably one of the largest consumptions of water worldwide. Similarly, our landscapes, we are nowhere close to Israel, where we are switching on to irrigation systems that can reduce the consumption of water. And you rightly mentioned that we're not using wastewater at all. So in all our projects, we attempt to do that. Sink water, reuse wastewater, and this is what we're trying to say, that very clearly the geological and the soil conditions of Delhi are earmarked. But yet our aspirations are completely, making things pretty. And so we cover the Aravallis with soil, and then we want it to look like lawns of Scotland, which is so misplaced. So how do we bring these paradigm shifts? I was asked to come to the Jokri area to help them with water harvesting, but each one of them has 2 acres of lawns. So where do you begin? And I think we are all agreeing to this fact that it is about raising the awareness of the civic society substantially, empowering them and interacting with them and creating a dialogue. This is South Delhi, next to my house. That is the situation of our solid waste. And this is what we see across. And many states do not have land available for landfill. If you go to Kashmir Valley, they don't have land available for landfill. So all their water bodies are leaching. All the medical waste from the hospitals are going into the groundwater, and they have the highest amount of cancer probably in the country.
In Kashmir?
Yeah, because the amount of pesticides that are used in horticulture, they spray at least 11 to 12 times each year for each crop. Yeah. Yeah, you're not supposed to. That's why they exported. Yes, because everything leaches. You're sitting, Kashmir is a lake bed. You dig and you get water. So there are alternatives to this, and we were part of some of the initiatives. This is what these landfill mountains look like in Delhi. But this is what the rest of the world is doing with their landfills. And we were invited for a different kind of landfill of the red mud of the bauxite in Muri near Ranchi. And because they slipped onto a railway track. I think this is in South America. So this was the scheme that we gave them. On the left, you see the red mud bauxite. And there are different ways in which we approach landslides, and we have developed a technique called bioengineering. And all of Uttarakhand and Himachal, we are able to stop. So we are proposing a similar technique for the landfill as well, on that to restore and rejuvenate, so that it becomes like a park system, not an eyesore in the city. Of course, you got to cap the landfill from the bottom first. And this process that you see is less than 4 years. That transformation from making of that road to the fifth image on the slide. And that's what you can turn it around. There's no concrete used along this.
Chair is from where?
This is in Uttarakhand, a place called Padampuri. It's a 100-acre project site. But I think Nainital. Yes. 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 Near Jilli. I think NGT has been to this site. Yeah. So this is Devanya site. Yeah, you have given the notings of what we have done. Yeah, you. Yeah. So in every project we attempt, this was Professor Babu is well, versed with this part, and we were part of a team along with Delhi Development Authority to look at the ways in which we can then connect these green spaces across whole Delhi. But we do that for every project. And we took a part of Khirki village to demonstrate that for
Hello, Professor Gosain. Are you there?
Yes, I'm there.
So only we two are there.
I know, suddenly it has, the
Vanished.
connection is totally broken.
Yeah.
We can try restarting maybe.
Actually, they got it now.
Hmm?
They are getting it.
Oh, they're getting it. Fine.
Yogita, are you there? Thank you, Professor Kaul. Now,
Yes, I am there. You like connection from IIC got lost, so we are
come
there.
on. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So thank you, Borker sir and Professor Babu for initiating this thing. So before I go to my what the work I have done, I would just want to say why we need biodiversity park and the kind of biodiversity parks we really need to. So we just went to Yamuna Biodiversity Park in the first week of May, and so so this is how it was conceptualized, and this is how it looks from the satellite up in the sky and from the drone. From the So these are the biodiversity parks we need. And now what I'm going to show you is this. So what I have done is we have got a recent imagery of cartoset, which is 1 meter resolution. And what we have done is on the left-hand side, you are seeing is the satellite images, which is current, which is February 2025. And we have traced the trajectory of River Yamuna as it enters the Delhi, right through the course, and it leaves Delhi. And this is the one biodiversity park we have here, the only across the whole channel. Now, how we can replicate this thing? And this is what I'm showing here in this slide image, which is here. So if you see, if you replicate this biodiversity park across the channel, these are the green areas which we'll get. And we just have to replace the agriculture fields. That's it. Nothing. We are not talking about replacing the urban areas, just replacing the agriculture fields. This is the potential we have across the channel as to how many.
This is starting from Pala to Jaipur, is it? The complete-
Yes, complete. So if you see here, if you see this, so this is how I've just simulated this biodiversity park across the channel. The river. And the next we are trying to do is put it in the 3D perspective and create a video as Dr. Saxena showed. So there's the second stage. But this gives a perspective, across the river channel. Again, this is the river channel. And this is without these biodiversity parks. Mostly agriculture land or some wasteland.
Yeah, thank you, Yogita. I think, do you have any other comments, or we can go to Professor Babu now?
Yeah, we can go to Professor Babu now. So this, I just wanted to show that how the same area.
You've shown it very well. You've shown it extremely well. Thank you very much. You've been working the whole night, I believe. Thank you.
Yes. So this is like agriculture field, and this is how, if we replace it with the wetlands.
Remain there. Professor Pentel is asking where you'll be there when the questions come up very shortly. Okay, just remain on screen.
Yeah.
I just take about 5 to 7 minutes, not more than that. I just want to show you what we have done on the active and inactive floodplains of the river Yamuna in the upstream of Wazirabad during the last 22 years with the financial support from the Delhi Development Authority, and the land belongs to the Delhi Development Authority. We developed the Yamuna Biodiversity Park, which spreads over an area of 457 acres, and it includes both active and inactive floodplain. This is the drone picture, aerial view of the Yamuna Biodiversity Park, which spreads over 452 acres on the floodplains, and you can see that on the inactive floodplain where we don't have, where we don't receive flood water, we developed all river basin communities comprising about 1,000 plant species and assembled in the form of something like 24 biological communities, which can be classified into 15 ecosystems. In other words, we reproduce the floodplain ecosystems of the river Yamuna basin on the active floodplain. Now you can see, sir, there are many wetlands which are silted, and we desilted and restored. These are restored wetlands of the floodplains. Sir, we have floodplains in the inland, we have floodplains in the wetlands in the inland, and we have wetlands in the floodplain. These are quite different. What we have done, we restored, there are hundreds of wetlands along the floodplain of the river Yamuna within the Delhi state, sir. And whatever we have within that area, 457 acres, we restored, and within 6 months, we got 3,000 migratory birds on this wetland. You can see it there. And next, please. And this is another wetland which we restored. Is an oxbow type. Actually, they were used to have one channel here, but later on it receded, and then we restored it into a long, linear wetland. Next, please. Next, please. Now, you come down to the active floodplain, and this active floodplain spreads over an area of 300 acres, and this on the left-hand side is the what you call before restoration, and the right-hand side is after restoration. We have brought back the floodplain forest ecosystems, floodplain catchment wetlands brought back, and then we have floodplain grasslands and floodplain marshes. So there are 8 different types of grasslands, sir, on this. All of these actually contribute to storage of floodwater and recharge of floodwater to the groundwater, and this groundwater goes to the river during the rain season. So if we can bring back the what you call our floodplain ecosystems of the river, it will contribute to not only to the rejuvenation of the river, but also to the what you call environmental sustainability of the city. So if we have a 52-kilometer stretch, what I want to say is, I agree with Professor Sajwan and everybody that we need e-flows. We also need what you call treatment of sewage. But e-flows, I don't expect to get a single drop of water from Haryana government, I must tell you. Haryana government is a greedy government and takes away water if you want to give to the Haryana. So before all our work is on the paper, but we must show to the public or to the common, to the government, that if I replicate this Yamuna Biodiversity Park model all along the 52-kilometer stretch, you have a huge greens, and you have a large number of restored wetlands. And then these restored wetlands stored, we have one restored wetland of 100 acres on the floodplain too. It stores 500 million gallons of flood water every year, and gives water not only to the groundwater, but also gives to the river during the rainy season. But what Sajwan Sahab has told, some biodiversity parks have been created in the downstream. That I am not responsible, and that is responsible of the Delhi Development Authority, which have been predominantly composed of lawns. So I don't want to say so. So this is what I want to say to you. Then I would like to show you quickly, sir, I want to tell you, this is a very important slide. We have developed plant communities. Over a period of time, natural rewilding took place. So the animals have arrived one by one, because through a river corridor which is connected to Rajaji National Park. So today we have 4 trophic levels in the ecosystems of the Yamuna Biodiversity Park. You have plants, autotrophs, then you have herbivores, and then we have primary carnivores, and we have secondary carnivores. So any ecosystem having a 4 trophic levels is considered as the richest, biologically richest ecosystem. Now, I just want to tell you, if we visit our University Park, you may see a leopard. For the last 5 months, the leopard is coexisting with the rest of the trophic levels in the University Park. And it is not coming out, it is within the park and living comfortably and happy with its, what you call, large amount of prey base. This is what I want to say to you. And we have wild boars, we have a hog deer, we have a what you call servant cat, wild cat, jackals. Quite good number of animal biodiversity has come back through the river corridor from Saharanpur side of the Rajadhan National Park to our park. And let me tell you, sir, this is the first time where we could able to bring back the entire wildlife which became extinct in Delhi. And now I can say Delhi has a leopard, not the Haryana. Haryana so far, leopard is considered Haryana, but Delhi has it. So now we have I just go to the Allahabad University Park, sir. Sir, no, we will get tiger, sir. Very soon we will get the tiger. Tiger 2, we'll get it. We'll get it at a time factor. Sir, Allahabad University Park spreads over an area of 692 acres, and it is located Vasant Vihar and Vasant Kunj. And we successfully brought all the what you call biological communities that exist in the entire Aravallis from Gujarat up to Delhi. We have 2,000 species of plants which have been assembled into what you call something like 50 biological communities representing 20 ecosystems. Now, I'm showing you, now let me tell you, before this, you can see the top. The top inside is the before what you call restoration. It has just only a sparse invasive species, Prosophis juliflora. Now, the same site you can see after 20 years, we developed into a broad-leaved dry deciduous forest. Next, please. This is the one community which became extinct all along the Aravallis, but we brought back on a specialized habitat in Aravalli University Park. This is called Straculia bauzolia community. Next, please. And there are some, one picture is missing, tropical dry deciduous forest. We have a tropical, these birds were seen in Delhi about 50 to 100 years ago, sir. But now they become, they made the Aravalli University Park as their home, and you can see frequently these bird species. What I want to say is that, I think as Saxena has pointed out, the Aravalli University Park model can be replicated on 7,700 hectares of Delhi Reach. If we can do this, and if we bring the University Park model along the 52-kilometer stretch, Delhi's climate will be entirely different, and we will address the problem of air pollution, and we address the problem of waterlogging at the, what you call, on the roads, and we can address all other issues affecting environmental issues, affecting the common man as well as the entire citizens of Delhi. I also want to tell you, sir, about urban green spaces. The present urban green spaces are not doing ecological services, are not rendering ecological services. They are giving beauty, aesthetics, and what you call a little bit culturalism. Now, if we want to address our environmental pollution and waterlogging, we need to have a 3-storied vegetation buffers wherever you have open space, wherever in the schools, campuses. Now, when I say 3-storied, I have a diversity in the structure and composition. And also in the existing green species, I have only one species or maybe 3 species or 4 species, and we talk only plantation. We will not talk about the ecosystem restoration. So if we have vegetation buffers having a rich species number and high diversity in terms of structure and composition, we address this environmental problem, sir. Until we develop vegetation buffers in wherever there are open spaces, having high species richness and high diversity, we will not able to address the problem of air pollution. You may have a small guns, you may have import several machines from outside India, we will not able to address. It is these plant communities, ecosystem, which used to do that earlier, but we lost all of them because of urbanization. Now, lastly, about the pollution, sir. I have one small video I will show you. We are addressing the sewage in the main drains, which are representing a tertiary or fourth order drains. We are not bothered about our primary drains, and we are not bothered about our secondary drains, and we are not bothered about our tertiary drains. If we can address the sewage treatment in situ by using a nature-based solutions, we will also address the problem of what you call the pollution of the river. Now you may ask me how it can be done. There are several nature-based solutions and bioremediation technology, but I'm not talking about that. We developed a simple constructed wetland system, which is very simplified. Even if the drain is lined and open, but is open, I put a rock filters. Rock filters are nothing but a cut stones. I pile it and have a pores, and when the sewage water flows through it, you find 60% to 70% pollutants are removed. If I grow some plants in between the rock filters, they remove the remaining pollutants. The water quality before the sewage enters into the drain and coming outside, you find the water that comes out in the outlet is almost similar to the water that can be used for bathing quality. And we have one system working for the last 10 years without any problems or difficulties at Neelaj Biodiversity Park. I request every one of you should go and see that Biodiversity Park, how it is functioning. Can I show that movie video? Just 37 seconds, 30 seconds, sir. I simplified this further, and today this technology is being adopted by all the districts in UP for the treatment of sewage in the primary, secondary, tertiary things. Because the Chief Minister personally supervised. Yes. So you can see this is raw sewage of 1 MLD, and which is it moving? Is it moving? Ah, yes, it's moving. It's only the raw sewage, and it's passing through the drain, open drain. And now it is passing through my stabilization unit where the sedimentation takes place. You can see the gap, the rock filters, sir. It's passing through the rock filters and finally entering into a constructed wetland with a tree with 15 species of aquatic plants. Now you can see the quality of water. You can see the quality of. Using this water, a dead lake has been restored. That is Neelaj Lake. You can see that. This should be done. This is done without electricity, and you may ask me how many hours? Less than 10 hours. And in a shorter primary drains, in 30 minutes, the water is clean. Right in, I have not used any spacer, right in the drain itself.
Thank you, Professor Babu. Now, you see, this 2 minutes, no. You see, the point you have raised is very critical. But I would like to go back to what Professor Kaul said. You know, he said you need a sensitized political guy as the minister or a sensitized civil servant as the secretary. And then to do these things, you see. Otherwise, everything comes to a knot, you know. So where do we get that? I mean, if somebody says that we want sandalwood in Delhi, you know, or we import tulips from Netherlands. I mean, you know, this is crazy, absolutely. Some newfangled ideas, some kind of craziness comes in. I mean, how can you have sandalwood in Delhi? It's crazy, absolutely. But then, you know, I mean, and then where those tulips last for just for a few days, you know, and you spend lakhs and lakhs and lakhs on those tulips. You see, when we have our own indigenous plants which can grow, trees which can grow. So I think there has to be a mindset change of a very, very high order, as Justice Oka was also saying. And civil society has to play a role in that mindset change. Now, is there any time for just quick, you have to leave? You have to. Can you take the mic, please, quickly? Just take. No, you can do it, but it's going to on record. Yeah. Quick.
Just now you mentioned, like, we have to sensitize administrators or whatever. This Yamuna Biodiversity Park started only over a cup of tea. If Professor Babu can remember, it was a discussion between a LG and a then Vice Chancellor DU. So that way it started. And Professor Gosain also said academician and some authority, if they work together. So that is what we got the biodiversity part. That is what I want to say. So all the technical support was given by this team, I would
Yeah, Professor Petrel, just a quick.
say.
In general, even in science and technology, we are deficient in scaling up. We have good models, but we are not considered. Will this person get too much prominence if the model succeeds? We are troubled with the possibility of success. So that's very amazing. Now, my belief is, you know, I never visited the Biodiversity Park previously. I went only about a year back. And I was stunned with the kind of diversity which is there and the greening effect which it has. So I think this is the only option we have to begin with. Now, I have taken a leap in faith and I have written to the Chief Minister that we should start greening up the whole Yamuna from this one mouthful. I think we should, all of us should write to the government of Delhi that this needs to be done. And this is the only tangible solution in short run. Now, you want to increase the flow later, that's okay. You want to make something more there. Once the trees come up, I'm sure the court will take care of it that the trees are never removed. So I think we should start with the greening of the whole Yamuna bed. Do not worry about what Haryana is going to do, what UP is going to do. They should follow the example. But whether the government will be wise enough to take this bait and start work on Yamuna, that part I don't know.
I think, Professor Babu, we should take Justice Oka to the Yamuna Biodiversity Park.
I've seen that.
Whenever. You have been there already?
Yes, please come.
Achha. No, but with the guided tour of Babu.
Yes.
Yeah, that will make a big difference. And then probably, yeah, quickly. No, take the mic, come here, take the mic. Just give him the space. Yeah. Quick, with the last one now. Yeah.
I would like to know that how many such biodiversity parks in Delhi and how much time it takes to complete this project and how much more biodiversity parks required in Delhi to solve these pollution problems. Thank you.
Yeah. Just 1 minute, quick answer, sir.
Let me tell you, we have 52 kilometer stretch. we want to replicate this biodiversity park all along the 52-kilometer stage. It may be. And this requires what? Essentially the propagules of the plant species and the ground staff and a few scientists who can work. And that means there's not much civil work. So the amount of money that we require is very small, right? And this can be replicated, but a single biodiversity park to make it functional ecosystem, it will take 5 to 10 years. And then over a period of time, it will come automatically sustainable. Similarly, we have 7,700 hectares of Delhi reach. Now, if you can replicate our University Park model, what you require? Except samplings, the ground staff, and then management of those. We have done nothing. We have not added any manure. We have not added any chemical fertilizer. And we have watered only for first 1 year, and the saplings are in the dry season, right? The plants will come up as far as. That depends upon the size. One is 457 acres. I think Payat can tell.
I would like to say one thing here, that it would be useful to involve some of the people like expertise Mr. Kaul has, because it would be good to map it a little bit so that where the passages could be for people to walk around, where water can be held in terms of the contours of the plain. So some kind of let's not think that it is going to be that straightforward, but I think if we put our mind and heart into it, Professor Babu has tremendous capacity. I think with a couple of other professionals attached, it can be done.
Ma'am, just quick, if you want.
Yes. So, yes, there's been a lot of talk about the Yamuna Biodiversity Park. And I have been there myself, visited it. It's fantastic, in terms of the diversity. It's good for greenery, the green lungs, etc. But I would still say that for the river Yamuna, I think what we really need, if the biodiversity park can be supplemented really with like riparian buffers, which is somebody pointed out, trees, and having green areas all along the river. So you have a riparian buffer and the use of vetiver. That is, I feel, very important on the river sides to prevent soil runoff and for water purification, also for groundwater recharge, which then feeds into the river. So all this is, I think, very important. And one more thing is that somebody also mentioned about this. I feel that maybe now the time has come. Somebody said something about law. And I said, maybe now the time has come to really think of the rivers. As a living entity, I think maybe we still already are. And by law, we say, okay, this is the river is, the land next to it is also the rivers, it is by law. So something, I'm not sure whether something like that exists or not.
We have to take when we replicate it.
Yeah.
We just given we have shown you
Yes.
how it looks like.
Yes.
That what we will have shown.
Yeah, I've been there. It's beautiful. The birds, and I've gone birding there.
Those birds saying something better. Go even further.
Yes. Yes. That's what I'm saying.
Can we do it after the thing? Some of us can talk. We'll have to close the television, the webcast. Okay. So thank you very much. It's been a very interesting evening we have spent together. And thank you, Just Loka, to join us. And we'll now take you to the on a guided tour, biodiversity. Because if we can bring all the judges of the Supreme Court there under your leadership, that will make an impact, Yeah. So anyway, thank you all. We'll carry this discussion informally just after this, because we'll have to close now. Thank you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.